Hey everybody, it's me, your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, and this is my series, Nails in a Coffin, where we learn that with great kills, there must also come great nails. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. If you're new here, you can read what Nails in a Coffin is all about in the section down below, because my videos, they're not film reviews. Rather, I break down the kills and evaluate how well that victim responded to their attack. This week on Nails in a Coffin, I'm going to continue my coverage of the Final Destination franchise with the Final Destination. Even though it wasn't the last one, it was Final Destination 4, also Final Destination 3D. It's a fun series to cover. The first two films had the same nails in a coffin average with 2 nails. Part 3, slightly lower with 1.86 nails. Nailing the victims in this series is kind of a little bit different than all the films I covered on this channel, since death here is going to get everybody regardless of how hard they actually try and avoid it. So it's a little interesting, but still fun. So how will the fourth film in this long-running franchise compare to each other ones? Well, sit back, relax, and let's find out. So start your engines, buckle up. It's time to nail the Final Destination. It's race day, and this time the premonition belongs to Nick. He's at the local speedway with all of his friends, surrounded by that archetypical, boring lineup of horror movie trope characters. Death starts his plan as a piece of metal falls off one of the cars, which will set off our deadly chain reaction of death. This part, like the entire film, is filled with dodgy CGI kills. Chaos all over the speedway, multiple people dying in a variety of ways, cars flying in the stands, crushing people, fires and explosions all around, concrete pillars are falling apart, crushing multiple victims. Lots of gimmicky 3D kills that just look fake as hell and dumb, especially since these kills go on for a long time, too long. I think this is one of the longing opening death sequences yet. So the premonition finally comes to end with an explosion sending Nick to be impaled on some debris. Just like all the other films, once Nick comes out of his premonition, he's all upset. He causes a bunch of drama at the track, which is going to result in he and his friends being escorted out of the stadium along with some other soon-to-be survivors. Once Nick and everybody are out of the track, of course, the accident happens and it kills about 50 people are killed at the McKinley Speedway. And just like the first 3 films in this long-running franchise, as I mentioned, I'm going to give all these 50 Speedway victims a pass. They did nothing wrong. We're all victims of death planned that day. And yeah, not much else to say. So, moving on. The first on-screen kill that we are going to nail is Carter. He's outside George's house sitting in his tow truck. He blames George, the security guard at the speedway, for the death of his wife. Scumbag Carter's plan is to put a burning cross on George's lawn, truly disgusting, and while he starts to dig the hole, Death starts his antics and the truck's radio turns on. When a horseshoe falls, the truck shifts into gear and starts rolling down the street. The door just locked itself and the truck is now rolling down, dragging its chain. Carter can't get in while he's cursing his situation. The hook on the train grabs his foot and he's now being dragged down the street. The truck was leaking something flammable and the dragging chain creates a spark, igniting both the chain and Carter's legs. Hearing the scream, George goes outside on his porch to see, he sees Carter being dragged, fully engulfed in flames. The fire reaches the truck, which causes it to explode, resulting in the decapitation of Carter. Carter gets that first set of nails, and he only deserves 1 nail in a coffin. He was in the middle of a stupid and repulsive action. Also, with his truck rolling down the street, why would you stand behind it where the chain was? Pay attention to your surroundings, for crying out loud. Once he was hooked and fell, there wasn't much he could have done to save himself. But let's be real, his racist behavior put him in this position. He basically made it easy for Death to claim his next victim. So, yeah, Scumbag Carter, 1 nail in the coffin. Next up on Death's list is Samantha, who's at the salon trying to keep her appointment and get her hair done so she can look good for a much-needed girls' night out. One thing I dislike about this franchise is now Death is just moving things into place so they can, he can get the kill. No wind or anything like that. Just a hairspray bottle sliding by itself. Sam's mid-haircut while we watch Death's plan, try and fall into place. And after some teases from the Grim Reaper, Sam narrowly misses getting hit by a fallen ceiling fan. She's getting ready to leave the salon now, scolding her 2 sons for their rambunctious antics. After she's exiting the door, she turns to her son saying she's going to keep an eye on them. Get it? Because then a rotting lawnmower flings a rock right through her eye hole. This one was pretty easy to rate. Samantha's awarded 2 nails in a coffin. These types of kills are very commonplace in this franchise. Somebody who's completely innocent where the death was no fault of their own. She wasn't even that bad of a character. She wasn't your typical bitch type like you see in a lot of horror movies. Yeah, it was just a lame 3D kill for the sake of using a 3D effect. Not much she could have done, so 2 nails in a coffin for Samantha. Just like all the other Final Destination films, we have our clairvoyant along with other characters trying to warn the next victim of their impending doom, and this time that victim is Andy. Again, just like the other films, he narrowly misses getting killed one way, thinks he's safe, like we've seen again and again, and then the real death happens when take a compressed air rockets towards him, pulverizing him against the fence in another poor CGI kill. Andy gets 2 nails in a coffin. He didn't do anything foolish here. Once that tank took off, he had really no time to react. The tank hit him and pushed him back into the fence in an over-exaggerated kill that looked dumb and not gruesome. Yeah, he didn't make anything dumb here, so he was innocent. Yeah, he still deserves 2 nails in a coffin. Let's keep going. This next set is one of the worst in the entire franchise, just for its absurdity. It's Hunt, your typical asshole trope character. He's at the local pool and he just popped the kid's raft and took his water gun, tossing it over by the water pump, where it falls and turns the pump on. And so while Hunt was enjoying a drink and fidgeting with the coin in his hand, little does he know, Death's plan is in action thanks to a nearby golf swing. Hunt's drink gets knocked out of his hand and well as the coin, and the coin rolls into the pool. Guess it's important to Hunt because he dives into the pool to go retrieve it. When he gets down to the bottom of the pool, the water pump is so strong that it pulls him and it holds him down to the bottom. The suction is just so strong he can't free himself from this deadly water trap. He's trying, but it's no use, and he's quickly running out of time. The backup of the pressure is increasing, eventually resulting in Hunt getting disemboweled. Like I said, it's one of the worst kills in the franchise just for its absurdity. This kill sucked. I get it. I'm going to give Hunt 2 nails in a coffin. He was your typical jock, bullied, asshole guy like we see in most horror movies. This was just a dumb way to kill somebody, making a pool filter pump have enough suction to suck out the inside of a person. But it couldn't pull a band-aid down earlier, so dumb kill. Yeah, Hunt was a dick. However, he was pretty much innocent here. I just didn't see him make any foolish decisions. This is more a fault of the writing than Hunt, so I guess I got to give him 2 nails in a coffin. The next victim is someone we haven't really seen before, Jonathan. He was an unnamed survivor of the Speedway accident. He's been in the ICU since the accident. The room of the floor above him has a therapy tub, and it's overflowing thanks to an absent-minded nurse. Jonathan's woken up when he feels water start to drip on his face. He opens his eyes and he sees the ceiling sagging and leaking water everywhere. He tries to press the call button because death is there. He gets a little shock and it falls away. There's an absurd amount of water pouring from the floor above that nobody in the entire hospital is noticing. Jonathan does his best to crawl away to somewhere safer. His efforts are not enough, and the ceiling, water, and the tub eventually crash down on top of him, killing him. Jonathan earns a solid 3.5 nails in a coffin, which is the highest nail rating I've given so far in this franchise. The guy was in the hospital, burned, bruised, broken bones, all messed up. He started dragging his broken body across the floor, trying the best he could to get somewhere safer. You know, he made himself an opportunity and he at least tried something. He didn't waste any time. He definitely tried his best. And, you know, for the condition that his body was in, he couldn't get any help. I got to give him a lot of credit, especially in a franchise like this. So it's a high rating, but I firmly believe Jonathan does deserve 3.5 nails in a coffin. The next death is a blink and you'll miss it. George and Nick are leaving the hospital right after Jonathan was killed. They're both talking and then bam! George gets annihilated by a speeding ambulance. George gets 2 nails in a coffin. This was a dumb death, repeating something we saw in the first film. However, this one was less George's fault and more a fault of the script. Where the hell was that ambulance going? They were in front of the building, and if that ambulance was going that fast, it would have plowed into the building. You know, it never would have been driving that fast, that close to the hospital. It wouldn't have time to stop with the speed that thing was going. So unlike Terry, who in the first film angrily walked into the middle of the road, George made no foolish errors here. He was 100% the victim of the speeding ambulance and really a victim of lazy writing. This leads to our final set of deaths in the Final Destination. Not too many in this film, not too many deaths. So it's the end of the movie and our 3 remaining survivors, Nick, Lori, and Janet, are at a coffee shop. Again, they think they're safe. They think they escaped death's plan until Nick gets a feeling thinking, maybe they didn't escape death. And before they can do anything, a truck crashes into the shop, killing all 3 of them. Alright, let's nail the rest of these victims. First, I'll nail Lori and Janet. I'm going to give both of them 2 nails in a coffin apiece. Innocent here, didn't have any time to move. Again, the kills in this movie were just lame, and they were really forced, these deaths, just to get a shot for 3D effect. Yeah, I just thought it was lazy. I really didn't care for it. But the victims themselves didn't do anything wrong here. Yeah, 2 nails in a coffin apiece. Nick, he gets nailed last. I'm going to give him 3 nails in a coffin. Now, he gets 3 nails for his actions earlier in the film when he set the fire that was going to kill dozens of people in a movie theater. You know, he showed a lot of courage there, made some quick, smart decisions. You know, his arm was nailed to a wall. There was a fire. He tried his best, and he saved a lot of people. So I got to take all those actions into consideration with this character for his death here. He was by far the standout of this movie, which doesn't say much because I really didn't care for this film at all. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are all my nails in a coffin for the Final Destination. Here's a summary of all the nails I've awarded. The average nails in the coffin is 2.17 nails. On the higher end of the nail rating, but with this franchise, it's kind of a curve with them, mainly because most of the kills are going to happen no matter what, since you really can't cheat death. But here's a quick comparison of the first 4 films in this franchise. First 2 films had an average of 2 nails in a coffin. Final Destination 3, 1.86, and The Final Destination 2.17. So you can see about the average for all these kills so far in all the first 4 films. It's about 2 nails in the coffin, which makes sense when you think about all the deaths in this franchise, since death is going to kill these people innocently no matter how hard they do or do not do anything. Before we wrap up, I gotta give away my Golden Hammer Award. This award goes to a victim or a survivor that stood out in the film above the others, showing great intelligence, bravery, initiative, gumption, whatever. Again, easy one here. It's Nick for all the reasons I mentioned when I gave Nick his nail rating. Everyone else in the movie was just carnage candy. They didn't even have a chance to do anything. Thanks for watching, everybody. I really do appreciate it. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, all that usual, and I'll see you here next time. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get the next film out, depending on how my surgery goes, how well I'm feeling, but it'll definitely be there. I'll definitely be covering Final Destination 5, and then probably Final Destination Bloodlines after that, and I'll wrap it all up with my Golden Nail Awards. So, I hope you're all doing well. I appreciate the support, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Be good to yourselves, and be good to each other. I am your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, and remember, with great kills, there must also come great nails.